Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. And this is Tristan. He's a Corgi. And we're here for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Today we are live from my friend Ron's garden. You can see the beautiful flowers blooming around us, all kinds of interesting varieties. And we are going to be continuing our discussion of flower essences today. Today we are looking at clear thinking from botanical animal. And clear thinking is exactly for what it says. It is for lack of focus and poor concentration. I'm sure many people listening to this episode will think, geez, can I give that to my children? But this is particularly made for dogs and cats and horses and bunnies. It helps animals that are spaced out, unfocused, easily distracted, and overwhelmed by external stimuli. It's great for those that do not pay attention or are unable to concentrate for any length of time. Helps to increase memory retention while improving the animal's capacity to learn new things. And so this is the type of dog that we often see coming to a T-Touch class for training with us. These are often dogs that don't do well in traditional dog training settings and dog schools and puppy classes because they are unable to focus. And T-Touch work in particular helps them learn to focus. But the flower essence from botanical animal, clear thinking, can be another step in helping your animal make the transition to focused and clear learning instead of spaced out and not concentrating. Some of the components of clear thinking include some that we have seen in many other of the essences we've discussed. We've got horse chestnut, clematis, plumbago, dill, daisy, knotweed, and sweet chestnut. And as we go through them, you'll see how they're relevant in this situation just as they were in the other situations we described them. Oh, there's a lovely little yellow bird in the water fountain behind me. So dill assists with the absorption and assessment of a wide variety of sensory experiences. So it heightens the awareness of the five senses, and this allows the dog to understand what you're asking him to do. In particular, using clear thinking with the T-Touch wrap would be a smart idea because it would help him focus by wearing the wrap, and then this awareness of his senses would allow him to take in information in a healthy way. Dill is for overwhelm due to an excess stimulation or hypersensitivity to the environment. And as an herb, it's been used for digestion, and in a flower essence, it's used to digest experiences and to help assist you being calm and receptive to the food of the soul and the food of life. And so dill is an important one for a dog that's had trouble concentrating and focusing. Now, there are some other flower essences, as we've discussed. Easy Does It and Mellow Out might be similar for a dog that seems nervous. You have to assess what your dog particularly needs. And then there also is one called In Training, which has some of the components of clear thinking. But clear thinking is particularly for that dog that just seems kind of unfocused. You know, I see a lot of these golden retriever and Labrador puppies or border collie puppies who are smart, and they just have so much going on they can't figure out what to pay attention to in the environment. So the dill will help them digest that environment in a healthy way and figure out what to focus on. Dill is from the Norse word for lull, which helps you, we think about lulling to sleep. So being in a state of lull will help you understand your environment in a way that you can process it. It helps maintain focus and intention, and expresses what is inside no matter what is going on the outside. And this is something I think about with my horses, in particular with Burgers. We were at a huge championship dressage show, showing at, I think, third level at that point. And there was just all kinds of stuff going on. There was rain, and it was pouring down, and there were puddles at all of the main letters where I had to stop. And there was a dog that kept crossing the ring, a little Jack Russell, and a sleeping judge at the end. And I went in there with Burgers, and he was a very reliable, good horse, like many Morgans are. And he had done quite well in dressage up to that point. And he did a beautiful test. And it was as if the environment was not there at all. He was unaware of the rain. We trotted a 10-meter circle around the sleeping Jack Russell in the puddle. We trotted up to the judge, and I used my whip, my wand, a little bit on the letter at the top there to wake him up. And we had a beautiful ride, and we in fact won the class. However, the interesting thing is the rider that came in after me commented, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you went before me. My horse would never be able to work in those kinds of conditions." Well, in fact, in dressage, part of the training is to help your horse work in any conditions, and that's what the essence of dressage is. And a famous dressage rider, Podolsky, talks about in My Horses, My Teachers, a helicopter landing where he was on his top dressage stallion from the Spanish riding school, Lipizan, and because the horse trusted him, he could see that the horse was just out of his mind with fear, and yet the horse stood calmly while the helicopter was landing. And so Burgers had that similar experience, trotting quietly around that test, doing an explosive extended trot through the mud and puddles with no distractions. And it was interesting to me that that other rider who was coming after me never did get her horse solidly at third level, much less progress. So dill and clear thinking might be what you need for a horse that's distracted at shows or a dog that's distracted at dog shows. The next element in clear thinking is the plumbago. These have beautiful red flowers, similar to these guys back here, although those are not plumbagos. And it's a perennial shrub native to India, and the root contains many sugars which have antiseptic and antibacterial properties. It's been used for coughs and colds and intestinal worms, interestingly, and for skin diseases. Plumbago benefits the liver, and it decreases inflammation, and it's great for respiratory conditions. So these are the medical uses of the herbal parts of the plant, the stems, the leaves, the roots, the bark. And in terms of flower essences, it's for plumbago is for shame, feeling undeserving, lack of interest and trust in your own judgment, and feeling like you're a victim of the will of others. And again, this is for that dog that's unfocused. If he's distracted and barking because all the other dogs in the room are barking, plumbago is going to help him focus on himself and pay attention to you in an environment that seems stressful and distracting. The next component in clear thinking is one we talked about just recently, and that is the clematis. And like so many of the flowers we use in these flower essences, clematis is for anti-inflammatory properties in its herbal use. It is cytotoxic and antimicrobial, and it's a climbing perennial, as we said, with over 355 species. It's really just quite the diverse variety of plants in the clematis family. It was used by Native Americans as a remedy for skin irritation. Again, a lot of these decrease the inflammation, decrease the stress, allow the dog or the horse to focus. It's been also used for treating tumors and cancers, and Clematis montana in particular is used in Chinese herbal medicine and is called mu tong, and it's used to decrease fever, increase urination, and promote lactation. And again, a lot of these flower essences that are in clear thinking are ones that promote the flow of fluids, the circulation of the blood system, the nervous system, and decreasing inflammation in the body as a result of that increased circulation. And clematis is for those who are dreamy and drowsy, not fully awake, lost interest in life. We talked about this in terms of crises, and that's when you're despondent. When you're having trouble focusing, it's more of a tuned out kind of a look that your dog will have. If you're not present in your current circumstances, clematis brings stability. It brings you down to earth. It connects you to the earth. It grows your roots to the soil so that you can focus in a stressful situation and pay attention to your business on the earth plane. A lot of times dogs that are nervous in a class and a little bit jittery, they're very up. They're not even in their feet. They're just like in their body and they're ready to jump at any moment. And so the clematis, like its long roots and vines, will help root that dog to the earth no matter how far he tends to stray or jump. And as I said before, I had a clematis in my yard that was severed from its roots, and the vine continued to grow and flower for months after that. It's a very resilient plant. And that resilience is part of what you need to have clear thinking, to be able to learn. It also is for an animal that seems lost in a dream state, but is awake and not really present. They often seem quite quiet. So the clematis will help them focus on the current environment and be able to learn in a training situation or even just at home, about where you want them to be and how you want them to be. And the daisy is also in clear thinking, and the daisy helps you stay centered and grounded and under control when things around you could throw you off balance easily. Again, when you bring a dog to that stressful situation of being in a training class, or maybe you're training a therapy or a service dog and you're bringing them into an environment that has a lot of stress. It's one thing to be at home practicing with walkers and wheelchairs, but when you're in a nursing home setting, when there's lots of them, sometimes that can be overwhelming. And the Daisy will help your dog keep his control even when the environment around him is throwing him off balance. It helps him keep his composure and maintain calm, and it helps the dog collect his thoughts and then move on in the current moment, like, oh, there's 10 walkers here. I haven't ever seen this many. I guess I better watch out where my toes are and stay to the side. So that helps your dog focus, the Daisy. It's for dogs that often feel shy, vulnerable, overwhelmed, insecure. And these are some of the aspects that your dog will be experiencing if he is unable to focus. For instance, in a class, or if he's just not thinking clearly. This is a great essence I've used with a lot of horses, actually, because horses are so easily distracted. They take in so much information from their environment, and sometimes you just need them to be able to focus on the job with you. And I've often been able to do that by varying the types of training that I'm doing with my horses, but sometimes you need that extra help, and the clear thinking flower essence will be useful, particularly for some of these components that come from the Daisy: the shyness, the insecurity, the easily overwhelmed, and the fear of your ability to do what's being asked of you. The Daisy, remember, is that round flower with the yellow center and the white petals often coming out, and it also is corresponding with your solar plexus, which is the middle of your body. That helps you stay grounded. That's your power center. Helps you stay in yourself so you're not so vulnerable to the will of others and to the things going on in the environment around you. The Daisy has actually been called the mandala of the soul because it is really just that, with its association with the solar plexus. It organizes broken up ideas and thoughts and helps you find holistic and focused thinking. And it helps manifest your dreams into creativity and reality. So if your dog is having a hard time focusing in class, and yet he dreams of being everything you want him to be, to work with you or be with you or just be a good, like a good citizen dog in the environment with you, the clear thinking is going to really help him focus because of part of what the Daisy bestows on it. Another component of the clear thinking is the knotweed, which we talked about the other day and has tremendous help for Lyme disease. And if you've ever seen anyone or a dog with Lyme disease, they are really kind of spacey, not present. There's so much going on in their body. They just really are not fully aware. And so the knotweed speaks to that in terms of Lyme disease, but also in terms of its aspect in clear thinking. And the other interesting thing about the knotweed is what it looks like. It looks like the connections in the brain, the way the little flowers come off the stem. It looks like dendrites and neurons in the brain. And in fact, the knotweed is associated with clear thinking and creating synaptic connections in the brain. And it assists in the healthy firing of neurons, and it restores damaged nerves in limbs, especially for fine motor skills. So, as I said before, if you've got that dog that's not focusing well and he's not in his body, he's not grounded, he's up in his trunk, he's not experiencing the connection to the earth through his feet, this knotweed will help with the fine motor skills, which means it will help him connect with his paws and with the earth. Knotweed also helps clear the nervous system blockages. It's a great herb or a flower essence, I think, for a chiropractor to have around. It clears self-limiting beliefs about your own ability to heal and be healed. And it also is invasive in much of New York State and the Adirondacks, and it is quite edible. And it has been used as a broad-spectrum antibacterial, and they're finding that it's really effective for Lyme disease along with aloe, often mixed with aloe, as an herbal remedy. It enhances your awareness and sensitivity, and it's also useful when you don't see your own perfection, as Linda would say, Linda Tellington. It's when you don't see the potential to improve in yourself. So the knotweed will help you see past what you think is limiting to embrace what is not limiting you. It is useful to help with your own healing, and it also decreases blood sugar and increases blood flow. and it has ongoing studies on knotweed for recovery from alcoholism, as it seems to have a component, resveratrol, which decreases the accumulation of fat in the liver. And again, any kind of stagnation in the liver is going to A, be associated with anger, and B, keep you in a state where you can't transform and move on. So that aspect of knotweed is important for clear thinking as well, because it will help you get out of your kind of not frozen, but just not attentive state into a situation where you can embrace your environment and respond to the cues that you're being given so that you can perform better. And then we have 2 chestnuts in clear thinking, which is interesting because these 2 chestnuts are also in Easy Does It. And Easy Does It, again, was for those dogs that are, let's get the exact thing it says here, for incidents of obsessive, destructive, or disruptive behavior or property. So with that really destructive dog, you needed these chestnuts in the Easy Does It. So for clear thinking, it's a little bit like Easy Does It in that you want the dog to get out of the behavior he's in so that he can see what you're asking him to do and do it well. And with the Easy Does It, you need him to stop tearing up the house and to break that reflexive pattern between the biting and chewing with the jaw and the stimulating of the reticular activating system. In this one, clear thinking, you just want them to get out of their sort of dreamy, stupor, inattentive state so that they can focus, which may be nervous barking, jittery, that sort of thing. So this chestnut, the sweet chestnut, is for those who have reached their endurance limits and see no way out of their difficulties, and they feel hopeless and empty. And it's often those at the end of the line with, as Dr. Bach said, appalling final despair. So it renews your hopes and strength, which is important when you need clear thinking. You need to believe that you can do better than you've been doing, and the sweet chestnut will address that. It's in a much less part of clear thinking than it was in Easy Does It. Bach talked about sweet chestnut as being part of what you need when you're in that dark night of the soul state, when you're just really about to transform from what seems hopeless and helpless to a place where you are able to embrace the transformation that's becoming part of you. So it's a great thing to have in clear thinking, because if you are unable to connect to the ground and to the environment and the things coming in around you, you're not able to think clearly and to respond appropriately when someone asks you to do something. So sweet chestnut will break down any of that kind of overload that's going on, and it will help you recover from that stressful part of the dark night of the soul and reach a new level of consciousness where you have a divine connection. And certainly that day with Burgers riding, I mean, this test I probably did 20 years ago, but I still remember every footstep because it did transcend our limitations of our training and our riding and what I thought he could do. I just had a lot of confidence in him. I rode a lot of the time, not in an indoor arena. Even though I had a gorgeous one at my disposal, it was often being used by other people, and I needed a big open field. So I had ridden in snow and rain and sleet with dogs and possums and foxes crossing the arena. So I knew that I could do this. And I still, to this day, remember that because of what happened. And part of what Sweet Chestnut would have given us is that divine connection, that feeling of like being in the zone when you're at a point where you are thinking so clearly that it doesn't even feel like you're on earth, even though you're super grounded and super connected. And Sweet Chestnut helps you welcome the ability to believe again so that you know that you can focus and learn. The final component of clear thinking is horse chestnut. And horse chestnut also has the tiny white flowers like the knotweed. It's native to the Balkans, and it's also been called the white chestnut. And it's been used for centuries for vascular disease and to increase circulation. It's been used for kidney stones and hemorrhoids as well. And think about kidney stones are very similar to stagnation in the liver. It's something that's not passing out of your body that needs to be released. So that's the same reason that you would need this for clear thinking. You need that stagnation to pass out of your body so that you can focus and be present and learn. And it's for venous insufficiency. It has strong antioxidant properties and it strengthens the capillaries. So like the knotweed, improving circulation and nervous system function in the brain, the horse chestnut helps with blood circulation and vascular circulation and has been associated with the heart as a result of that. The horse chestnut is for those who can't prevent thoughts and ideas that they do not desire from entering their minds. So if you're in that puppy training class and your dog is 6 months old and 3 other dogs are barking, all your dog can think about in that case is barking too. But in fact, with clear thinking, he will be able to say, wait a minute, that's not what I need to do. I am not part of this environment. I can make my own place over here, not barking, and instead look at them and wonder why they're barking. Not like I'm missing something, but like I'm aware they're barking and it's okay. So that's what the horse chestnut gives clear thinking. Clear thinking also helps with thoughts of worry and not being connected to the present moment. In particular, the circular thoughts, that hamster wheel you have in your brain at night when you can't sleep, when you're thinking, oh my God, I have the grocery list, I have to pick up the kid, I have to go here, I can't forget to get this, and I have to go over here, and I can't forget to turn this on. So when you have that kind of feeling, you need the horse chestnut to bring you back to earth and connect you and break up that, circular reasoning of thoughts that are keeping you awake or keeping you from performing at your highest. If I had gone into that dressage ring with Burgers that day going, oh my God, what about the rain? Oh my God, what about the dog? What about the judge sleeping? Will he miss my test? Will I have to ride it again? When will they schedule? I've got 5 more tests. If that kind of thing was going on in my brain, I would not have been able to have the performance that we had that day. And instead, I just grounded myself, connected with Burgers, sang the little song that we always sang before we went in the ring to keep me breathing and to help keep us calm, and we performed very well. So that circular reasoning never helps you when you're trying to think and concentrate and perform, and so that's an important thing for the chestnut to break up in our flower essence, clear thinking. It also works to combat that idea of mental torture, that kind of thoughts that drive out your peace and interfere with your ability to do work or find pleasure. So again, it helps you focus and find a way that you can be grounded and be in the moment so that you can perform and think at your best. Horse chestnut increases your calm, and any kind of obstructed clarity is released so that you have clarity. It brings you relief from feelings of guilt, depression, confusion, insomnia, and headache. It helps you regain your calm. So horse chestnut is a really important aspect of clear thinking, to have that calm and that focus and the break up that circular thoughts and those sometimes defeating feelings that are coming from inside of you. And that happens to dogs too. You know, if he has not had success in the last 3 times you've brought him to dog school, there's no reason why he can't have better thinking and perform better at this particular class. And certainly when I was in dog training school with Comet, for him to earn his therapy and then service dog certification, he was a bit older than the other dogs in the class, and every once in a while there would be some bad characters in the corner barking and acting up and jumping at each other, and there are people not really knowing how to work with them. And I was able to sit in the corner and move Comet around the room very quietly just to keep his focus and help him stay in the moment so that he could perform at his best. And in fact, he had a great time at that class. He did really, really well. And he already knew, of course, sit and down and stay and give me this paw, give me that paw, and come, and all of those things. But it was a really fun time for him to be in that class, to get his canine good citizenship, and start him on his journey to becoming a great service and therapy dog. So clear thinking would have been really helpful for some of those other dogs in the class that were unable to, focus and concentrate. And part of it was that they were puppies, and Comet, of course, was an adult dog at that point. And it's hard, when you're 2 or 3 or 4 years old as a human, a toy can only hold your interest for so long. And the same is true for our dogs. So the clear thinking really helps keep them grounded and keep them in the moment so that they can interact with you and perform better and listen to what you're asking them to do so that they learn how to be a good citizen in the world. So today we've been talking about the botanical animal flower essence for clear thinking. And we're in the beautiful garden of my friend Ron. You can see the lovely flowers behind us. And clear thinking is to help animals that are spaced out, unfocused, easily distracted, and overwhelmed by external stimuli. It's great for those that don't pay attention or are unable to concentrate for any length of time. It helps increase memory retention while improving your animal's capacity to learn new things. And it's a great flower essence to use when you're doing T-touch work with your dog, because T-touch also stays with your dog, and anything that you do with him, like in the confidence course, really is part of what they learn, and they stay changed forever from a few experiences with T-touch. And so clear thinking can be really useful. We also have one called In Training, and as you saw, we have Easy Does It for the destructive behavior, and Mellow Out for those that are also nervous and acting out a lot all of the time and unable to focus. So you're going to have to look at the details of these particular flower essences to see which one meets the needs for your dog. But I love clear thinking, and it really has been just sometimes that last little icing on the cake to help my dog perform really well with me. I would recommend it for a dog that's just not got quite the edge you would like him to have, perhaps in agility or maybe nose work, just to help them, you know, really focus and concentrate and not be distracted by the environment around them. And of course, with agility, you want a well-conditioned, strong dog as well. So this has been Sally Morgan and Tristan Corgi for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today we talked about clear thinking, a botanical animal flower essence that you can use to help your dog focus and learn. Clear thinking. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll be back with another episode of Conversations with a Corgi from another location in Provincetown this week. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day. It's very sunny here. We're delighted to have it, but it's pretty hot.